With the rising cost of living, lack of universal health care, and difficult immigration rules to navigate, is moving to America worth it for you? To answer that, I want you to ask yourself these 5 questions. Hi everyone, Om here. I'm a film and TV editor based in New York City. I moved here from Bangkok, Thailand about 3 years ago. It was not an easy move. Getting a work visa, it was a long and dreading process. And by the time I got it, there was a pandemic, and I moved during November 2020. It was really hard. It was hard to be away from home, from friends and family. And about a few months after I moved, my grandmother passed away. I couldn't even go to her funeral because of the quarantine rules back then. It was a long and hard winter for me. But looking at myself now, it was definitely worth moving here. I don't have to wear a mask when I go outside in fear of PM 2.5, except that one weird week when New York City looked like Blade Runner set. And I don't live that far from gorgeous nature sites like Grand Canyon, Bryce Canyon, and Redwood. I mean, it's not that close, but instead of 20 or more hours of flying, it's just a 6-hour flight. Most importantly, I got to edit a show on a major streaming services like Apple TV Plus. It's so cool to be able to do what you love and get paid nicely. But the question is it worth it for you to move here? To answer that, you should ask yourself these 5 questions. The first question is, why do you even want to move here? It could be that you want better job opportunities, or you want better education for your kids, or you could simply just want better air quality. Your why is the most important, because moving here and living here in the first a year or so, it was very tough for me. Unless, obviously if you have a lot of money, then it might not be tough for you, but it was tough for me. And there were days that I have to revisit my why and really hold on to it to get through. Before moving, I was editing independent films in Thailand for over 10 years. And though the films did well, they got screened in major film festivals around the world like Toronto, Berlin, Sundance. I didn't earn a lot of money at all, and I hardly had any savings. I also felt like I wanted to challenge myself to edit more mainstream films or TV projects and bigger projects, and America is where those projects are made. That's why I wanted to come here. The second question is, what will you be doing here? How will you earn a living? What kind of job and how much it pays, at the position you are in now and in the future? Is there room for growth? You could look at websites like Glassdoor, Salary Expert, or Indeed and see how much it pays. I mean, unless you are moving from an also developed country, the salary in the US is most likely going to be higher than your salary right now. But remember to keep the cost of living in mind because here is very expensive. For me, it's the film industry. And the amount of the money that it pays depends on the type of the project, how big the budget is, and so on. I mean, there's definitely room for growth. I just need to get there. And to be honest, I thought, with my experience editing several feature films that done well in festivals, I thought that I could just move here and then stay an editor. It was actually not the case. I have to kind of start over again, and I decided to take assistant editing jobs so that I could get into the union in order for me to get a healthcare, because there's no universal healthcare here, right? And I was very worried about that. So yeah, I got a healthcare through the union and it's great. This leads to my bonus question for people who are a freelancer like me. How are you going to get health care? Without health insurance, everything can get really expensive when you get sick, and you don't want to be on the wrong side of that. Before I got into the union, I actually was not making a lot of money at all, and I got my insurance through this website called like Marketplace. I must say it was pretty difficult to navigate, but I was lucky, and I mean, I also did my research and I got help by these lovely people from entertainmentcommunity.org. I'll link to them in the description below. They are an organization that help people in the entertainment industry in various aspects. They helped me got my health insurance. They helped me when I had like a mental meltdown. Like they got me talking to a social worker and all that. It was like really, really great. So if you're in an entertainment industry like me, please check them out. If this video is at all helpful to you, please hit the like button. It will really help me a lot. The third question is, where will you live? This question might be determined by your industry, right? Because if you're someone like me who are in the film industry, you can either be here, New York, or LA, or Atlanta. Like other cities wouldn't make much sense if you really want like big projects. But if you're lucky and your industry is not going to determine where you live, then you have to ask yourself what kind of lifestyle you like. Are you an outdoor person, or do you like living in big cities, or it could just be you don't like to drive. It will really narrow down the cities that you can live in, because public transportation here is not great. You could live here in New York City, or Boston, or Washington DC. But if you don't mind driving, or if you love driving, the whole country is open for you. Oh, another thing would be if you are from tropical country like myself, you might want to ask yourself if you are okay with the cold, because a lot of people are not, and it can be miserable. Okay, so now you've narrowed down either the states or the cities that you are interested in. Then you have to start researching on how much it costs to actually live there. And when you do this search, please do not search something that will result in a very generic answer like, oh, the rent in New York City now average $5,600, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I live in Queens, and with a 2-bedroom apartment, my rent is not even half that. When you do research, you've got to really kind of narrow down what kind of lifestyle, and you can see like your budget, and maybe you might be living with a roommate at first, or this and that. There's like so much details, so don't be discouraged by all these like headlines. One caveat though, if you want to live in big cities, you should definitely research on which neighborhoods are a no-no, because it can be very dangerous, like other big cities around the world. So just be safe. So the fourth question is, how will you move here? There's so many types of visa, that you can come here. You can come here to travel, you can come here to study, you can work, you can invest. But in the purpose of this video, I want to focus on the work visa. It depends on your nationalities and your industry. You should probably narrow it down to like maybe 3 types of visa that you could be eligible for. And then after that, you can do a deep dive on their requirements. Another visa you should look into is diversity visa, aka green card lottery. There are only 2 requirements. The first is being a citizen of a country with a low immigration rate to the US. The second is having graduated from high school or its equivalent, or having qualifying work experience. You can check the eligible country list right here. I have it open. So if you are not from these countries, you can enter. Please keep in mind that entering the green card lottery is free. The drawing is random and by computer. If you win, there's an application fee that you will pay in person at the US Embassy or Consulate. Please beware of scammers and only trust information from the official website. Another thing to consider is that if you're not sure, I would say get a travel visa and come and see for yourself if you actually would like to live here. What I do not recommend is to come here on a travel visa and work, or even student visa and work, because if you get caught, you get blacklisted, you get deported, or if you overstayed your visa, people could take advantage of you. Like if you get sick, like it's just like a lot of trouble. I will not recommend it at all. So please don't do it, and try to actually come with a valid work visa. If you're already working at a company, it's not a bad idea to actually check if they have any branches in the US at all, because it could be a lot easier if you move within your company and have them take care of all the visa stuff. But if your company doesn't have any branches here, you should consider applying for jobs in the States before you even move here. You can go to LinkedIn, start amping up your resume, send them around. Definitely should get a job before moving here if you can. For me, I came here on an O1B visa, which is the work visa for people with extraordinary abilities in arts or in motion picture industries. I actually made another video talking about in and outs of this visa. So if you are in the entertainment industry or if you're just interested, you can just click in the link down below. Now, you might be wondering where and how you're going to get all this information. First of all, take a deep breath. It's gonna be okay. Even though it's a lot of information, but you can totally find it. You can ask your community online. I found that Facebook groups for people who live in that specific cities to be very helpful in finding out the cost of living, the lifestyle, and all the information related to living in that city. Before I moved here, I joined a few Thai people living in New York City groups on Facebook, and I didn't even have to ask any questions because all the answers were already in the older group posts. All I need to do was to search for it, and that's it. You can join apartment hunting specific groups on Facebook as well to get a feel of what kind of living situations are available out there, what amenities you should look for. For example, it's quite uncommon for New York City to have washer and dryer in your apartment. So when you look for apartments, you have to think about where the laundromat is. It's not fun if it's like too far away and you have to do laundry during the winter and the snow and all that stuff. So you need to take that into consideration. You can actually also search on Craigslist, even though it might feel a little bit more sketchy, but I think that is actually not a bad idea because I also found my current apartment on Craigslist and it's great. You just need to be careful, and if the deal look like it's too good to be true, then it's probably not true because there are so many scammers out there right now. You cannot base your move on scammers' information. If you decide to ask the group, please be specific and concise. You can give some context of your situation, but don't go on a rant. I find that people actually really want to help you if they know what you are looking for. For job-related information, it would be a good idea to join career-specific groups and start networking before coming here. Because who would know about your industry more than your peers? It might not be Facebook groups. It might be online networking events. It might be a group that you actually need to pay to get in, but you gotta give it a try and go for it. For me, it was Post New York Alliance group. Not only that it led to so many meaningful connections and job opportunities, it led me to great friendships that I still cherish today. After researching for a while, the last question you ask yourself should be, when will you move here? When? How do you know? Right? How do you know how long it takes for all these like immigration process to be done? I can't answer it. You should start looking for immigration attorneys. You can ask around, in your community or search in older posts on Facebook if anyone recommended any attorneys in particular. And you can start there. You also can just Google them. But make sure to talk to a few at least, because different attorneys, they work differently and they might not be specialized in your specific visa. Some might offer free consultation, some might charge you something. So it's best to actually know what kind of visa and the basic information like visa requirements so that you can actually go there and then ask them specific questions. When you talk to immigration attorneys, please make sure to ask them these questions. How long have they been practicing immigration law? How many cases like your case, and be specific about your situation, that they have taken over the years or maybe like last year? And how many of them were denied? Like what percentage? And why they were denied? So you can manage your expectation and also see how they deal with denied case. Because some attorney might give you like a lower fee if you want to appeal the case with them. And make sure to ask them what are included in their services. If you have any question, can you just email them and they're gonna answer anytime, or you need to schedule a call and then they will bill you hourly. You just need to make sure that you understand what they are offering. And lastly, you should ask them how long it's going to take, this whole process. And it might vary depending on like the difficulty of your case and all the documents you have to gather. So yeah, make sure to ask them that and then decide which attorney you want to go with. Remember, it takes time. Be kind to yourself. Be patient. I hope this video helped clarify what you need to consider before moving to America. Please let me know in a comment down below if you think it's worth it for you to move here. And subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.